What's it all mean, Alfie? Okay. What's it all mean, Alfie? All right, today I'm going to go over some real estate terms and something else. So stay tuned for the something else. So I found this definition of investment property. I don't know how many of you have equity and you decide that you want to become a short-term landlord, and you're looking for something to make you extra income. Well, nowadays with the cost of rent and the cost of property, you may not break even right away. But here's investment property definition. An investment property is a property purchased to generate rental income, tax benefits, or profitable resale rather than to serve as the borrower's primary residence. So do remember that when you're purchasing rental property, when you go to sell, you'll have capital gains if you don't buy something else of what's called like kind. So like kind would be another duplex, single family that you're renting out to another rental, a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex. And if you already are an owner of anywhere between 2 to 4 units and you want to go into five units, then it's considered commercial. It's a commercial kind of loan, and you need to have the experience, which you probably had, of what we call vacancies. Hi, Jack. Thanks for watching. So vacancy rate. The vacancy is a percentage of vacant units in a rental property, like an apartment building. A low vacancy rate indicates strong rental interest, while a high vacancy rate can mean that units are not renting as well. So part of when you're getting qualified for the rental property, the lender is going to take a look at if it's vacant, what you're going to be charging for rent, and how those numbers are going to work out for you. So do work with your lender. If you need a lender referral, I've got several, so feel free to reach out at any time on that. Also, just an extra. Sometimes you may decide that the prices in Southern California are a little too out of your range, but you still want to become a landlord. Well, actually, I have friends, realtor friends, in other states that I can refer you to, and I personally own a property up near Boise, Idaho. It's a long story. We can go over that another time. I may have already told you about it, but anyway, it's a single-family home, and I've had the same tenant in there all the time. And every year, my property manager and I discuss increasing the rent. Why? Because I want to keep myself in a good position if I ever decide to sell, because that way I'm closer to market value. So take that in mind if you're going to take over a property where the rents are low and with all of the rent requirements that we have now, and landlords and getting rid of tenants and evictions and all that, to be able to raise rents, because in the county I believe it's still no more than 8% a year, but every county is a little different, so check with me if that's a question. Also, I thought we'd do a little inspiration. So we talked a little real estate, now we're going to do an inspiration. I'm not sure if I've read this to you before. So listen, you become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily, or have sharp edges, or have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. So who said that? It's in the book, The Velveteen Rabbit. So as we all get aged and get older, some of us may be quirky here and there, little aches and pains, but we're still being loved. So when you're walking down the street and you see somebody who looks a little, what we used to call disheveled, realize that they're a human being, and somewhere along their life, they were loved. So it's Carol Gilles with Frederick's Realty on this Wild Wednesday, a little different, and hopefully you've learned something today. I'd love it if you are interested in my real estate newsletters to send me your name and your email address, and I'll make sure that every month you get information about the market, community information, and special little articles that I find. This month in August, it's going to talk about gardening and the type of gardening, type of landscaping you should consider. So anyway, it's Carol Gilles with Frederick's Realty. Have a great week. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.